Let's take a look at working with quotations and quotation metrics within K9. So if I go to sales transactions, and quotation, I'll get a document similar to everything else in K9. Basically, I can choose my customer, I can choose the items, things that you expect. So let's go through this for a moment. So of course, when I create a quote, I choose the customer that it's for, and I choose the date of the document. Okay, you see a couple of things occur when I do that. For one thing, under references, I have an expected close date, which is 30 days, and I have an expiration date, which is also 30 days from the date of the document. Now I can define this expiration date in the config system. So if I want to issue quotes that are only good for a week or ones that are good for 6 months, however I want to do it, I can create that over there. Note that in many cases, unless it's specifically outlined in the security, this expiration date is really just a loose term. You can still create a sales order, for example, on this quote if you want your users to be able to do that. So on the quotation, again, this doesn't move any inventory and it doesn't create any financial transaction, but because you can open a future document on it, you have the ability to create already the payment terms and things like that will be followed through the rest of the system. Okay. So very simple on a quotation is you can come in here and you can define what you're quoting the customer, what price, and whatever parameters you want. You can create notes and all kinds of things like that, let's say for installations or what have you. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to create this in here, and we'll create a couple of parts. Now, one of the unique features in K9 is our pipeline metrics, a system to allow a more cohesive understanding of why we're selecting certain things. So, for example, in many cases, you'll see a percentage sign and an expected close. Expected close is generally when I expect this quotation to be turned into a sales order or close out, and that percentage is what my odds are of closing that quotation out. So if I click on my metrics over here, you'll see I have these 4 predefined metrics. Now these are just defaults that I created. You can create whatever metrics you like, but generally speaking, assigning a weight to those metrics, we'll go ahead and let's go ahead and say yes, and create a weighted average of closing out this quotation. Now that number copies down to each individual line item where I have the ability to override if I think I have a stronger chance, give it better numbers, and close out that percentage. Now, where these percentages are coming from, of course, is the calculation of these metrics, and where those metrics are coming from is right over here in the sales maintenance pipeline metrics. If I open this up, you'll see a list of those 4 that I created, and let's go ahead and create a new one, just for example over here. We'll create a new metric and we'll call it customer interest. And I'll go ahead and save this. Now if we go back to our quotation over here, and let's open up the one that we were previously working on. If I open up my metrics tab, I'll have that new item in there. And keep in mind, if I leave it blank, it's not considered in the calculation. So you don't have to use any of these, you just leave the column blank if you like. And there we go, and I get a new average. So where can you use this information? There's several reports and items within K9 that you can use. If you're using any of our API tools and you create your own graphics, you can use that as well. So there's tremendous capabilities and usefulness to these metrics in there. And again, you can use those in combination with the statuses. So if you want to use a traditional pipeline type of scenario, you can still create the statuses in the workflow and use that. And then you just use the percentages as an additional tool for a bit more detailed information. And as usual, if you have any questions, please feel free to contact your implementer.